So, good day everyone. Today we gather to explore new ideas, engage in meaningful discussion, and inspire one another. So let's embark on this journey of knowledge together. Welcome to today's event. Our seminar has a theme of English in the 21st century. So thank you for everyone who attended our seminar for today. But before we start, I have a few ground rules for those who are listening or who will be listening to our seminar and our discussion for today. So, first, please listen carefully to everything that I'm going to say because after this, there might be some questions that I will be asking. So, and besides, this will be very beneficial for English students or for non-English students who are going to participate in our seminar for today. Next, please minimize your voice whenever you try to talk to one another to pay respect to the one who's speaking at front. And next, if ever you have a question, you can ask it after the seminar. We'll give you enough time or we will allot a time for those who want to ask questions or inquiries or have some clarifications. So since our theme is about the 21st century or English in the 21st century, so let's discuss why English or English proficiency or literacy is important for the 21st century. So in the 21st century, the importance of English has increased significantly due to globalization, digital communication, academic excellence, travel and tourism, cultural influence, technological advancements, and cross-cultural understanding. English has become the global language of communication, business, and academia. Proficiency in English provides individuals with access to international opportunities, facilitates cross-cultural interactions, enables participation in the digital world, and enhances personal and professional growth. In essence, English is a key tool for navigating the globalized world and connecting with people from diverse backgrounds in various domains of life. So since English is our lingua franca or our universal language, so it is very important in globalization that nowadays we are very much globalized. We try to communicate with different countries. We try to open more opportunities for us in other parts of the world. And being proficient or literate in English is necessary in order for us to express our ideas or to share what we could offer to the world. So as a Filipino, we must be proficient when it comes to speaking English, and we try to learn more why English or learning English or speaking English is very much important in our personal lives. So our discussion for today will be just very quick and very simple so that everyone will have or will be able to absorb everything that I'm going to say, because if it became too congested or the things that I say are too much for you, you might not be able to comprehend it or learn anything from this seminar. So we try to keep it as short as possible. So before we proceed to what are the difficulties we have as a Filipino speaking in English, let us first know why is it important. So earlier I said a few factors why English proficiency is important as a Filipino, but now we are trying to elaborate it. Why knowing how to speak in English or being literate in terms of speaking English is very much important. So knowing how to speak in English as a Filipino is important for several reasons. So first, global communication. English is considered as the lingua franca of the world, as I have said earlier. It is widely spoken and understood in many countries. By having a strong command of English, Filipinos can communicate effectively with people from different cultures, both in business and personal settings. English proficiency opens up opportunities for international travel, employment, and cultural exchange. So, global communication. So, as I have said earlier, we open more opportunities when we know how to speak in English. So, there are jobs that require speaking in English since if we plan to work abroad. In order for us to communicate better with other cultures or other people, it is necessary for us to know how to learn how to speak in English because other countries know how to speak English as well. And it would be easier for us to relay or convey the things that we need to say. So that's why English is the most common language that every country know or try to learn, since the possibility or the probability of our communication is higher when we know how to speak in English. And next, we have education. English is the medium of instruction in many academic institutions. Worldwide proficiency in English enables Filipinos to pursue higher education, opportunities abroad, access a wider range of educational resources, and engage in international research collaborations. It also enhances the overall quality of education in the Philippines, as English proficiency facilitates the exchange of knowledge and ideas. So books, documentations usually use the language or the English language. So in order for us to expand our learning, to expand our knowledge, we need to be proficient in English, since a lot of books, a lot of references are written in English. So whether it is in science or math, most subjects or disciplines use English as a medium of expressing their ideas or expressing or sharing information. So in order for us to learn more things about the world or about anything or anywhere, we need to learn how to speak in English, or we need to learn English, because if we're going to read a text written in English, if we personally don't know or we are not literate in English, we will not be able to understand or comprehend what was written. So in order for us to enhance or develop our knowledge, our cognitive skills, English proficiency is very much necessary. So number 3, this is very important in the real world. So employment opportunities. English is often a prerequisite to many job positions in various industries. Companies with global operation or international clients often require employees who can communicate fluently in English. Proficiency in English improves job prospects, expands career opportunities, and increases competitiveness in the global job market. In the Philippines, we have many BPO industries, or what we call virtual assistants, or anything work related that requires speaking in English. And it opens more opportunities, since a lot of job, even in the Philippines, requires good communication skills, because there are companies or there are work areas that have investors or international or foreign investors, and being able to express through English is an asset for us as an employee or if we are trying to seek a job, it would be an edge for us if we know how to communicate well in English. Next, technology and innovation. English is the dominant language in the field of science, technology, and innovation. So I have said earlier, a lot of disciplines or other subjects, even though it is not the English subject, they use English as a medium to express information or to share knowledge. So even in technology, it requires English proficiency, since in order for them to share their new technology innovations, they express it through the language or through English language. And if we want to be informed or knowledgeable enough with it, we need to comprehend or learn technology or information from technology that are written in English. So it would be an edge, or it would be an advantage for us if we are proficient or if we are literate, because we are going to understand it better. Next, cultural exchange and diversity. So proficiency allows Filipinos to engage in cultural exchange and appreciate diverse perspectives. It facilitates interaction with people from different backgrounds, fosters understanding, and promotes tolerance. Through English, Filipinos can share their own culture, stories, and experiences with global audience, contributing to cross-cultural understanding and appreciation. So if we know how to express ourselves with other people or people from other country, we could exchange information, we could exchange culture, we could be more diverse when it comes to learning other people's norms, behaviors, and we became people literate, or we became more emotionally literate. So if you know emotional literacy, you tend to socialize better with people. And with knowing how to speak in English, we could also enhance or develop our social skills. because we have that confidence in ourselves to communicate with people all around the world, and we could learn more through speaking or through engaging or having relationship with people from different parts of the world. And lastly, personal development. So learning in English enhances personal growth and self-confidence. It broadens one's horizons, exposes individuals to different ideas and ways of thinking, and encourages lifelong learning. Proficiency in English enables access to a vast amount of information, literature, and entertainment, enriching personal and intellectual pursuits. So I have said earlier, so when you know how to speak in English, you gain that confidence, or that confidence level where you can freely or confidently communicate, engage, or interact with other people. So being literate in English, or being proficient in the English language, so it opens not just opportunities, but it opens a lot of edge or a lot of factors in your personal development or in your personal life. So since as I have said earlier, English is used to convey information, it is used in literature, it is used even in entertainment. So news use English language all over the world if they want to share whatever events or incidents or anything that happens in that part of the country. So they also use English language so that all parts of the world will be informed what is happening in that particular country. And in entertainment, even music uses English, movies uses English, and that enhance or develops our personal and intellectual pursuits. So there are a lot of advantages when you know how to speak in English, or if you are proficient in English language. Let us now proceed to what are the challenges Filipinos experience, why they are having difficulties when it comes to speaking or learning in English. So first one, limited exposure to English. Many Filipinos lack consistent exposure to English speaking environments, which can hinder their language development. So we are going to provide solutions in order for us to address that concern or that issues particularly. So as a Filipino, we are very much limited when it comes to the speaking practices or speech practices. Even though the schools try to introduce us to English, or we try to discuss the technical part, which is the grammar and reading comprehension, or learning the basic literacy or the macro skills, which is learning how to speak, how to write, how to listen. But then it didn't enhance or develop our speaking skills nor our confidence with using the language. So in order for us to practice that, we need to expose ourselves with people who are speaking in English. So the first language speaker. So we are considered as the second language speakers. So English is only our second language. So there are people who uses English as their first language. So there are a lot of medium or media where we can practice English better. So we could expose ourselves with social media sites that like YouTube or other social media platforms where we can engage or interact with people who are speaking the language. So like nowadays there are a lot of websites like Omegle or other websites where you can physically, or not physical but virtually interact with people, and you can practice your conversational skills. So with that, we get to try to expose ourselves with the language more, and by doing that we could actually practice, or we could actually develop our English proficiency. So solutions include, just like I have said, watch English movies, TV shows, and documentaries regularly to improve comprehension and pronunciation. So when you are trying to learn in English, reading is the most basic skills. So because that's the first thing that, besides speaking, the next thing is we try to learn how to read, and then we try to listen. So if we know how to listen properly, or we have improved our listening comprehension through watching or through listening to documentaries, movies, or anything that is in English language, then our comprehension or our word knowledge expands, or it adds up to our knowledge with the English language. So if we expose ourselves with those kind of things, we became more better in listening comprehension. So if we know how to listen properly, we could process or easily process how to reply, how to respond, how to create our or to engage in conversations. So that those are the advantages of exposing yourselves to movies or to entertainment platform or media that uses English language. So next one, using vocabulary building apps or flashcards. So there are a lot, as I've said, there are a lot of application, websites, social media platforms where you could actually practice English language. If you're going to notice nowadays, kids or children, even though they're not yet in school, they are very much knowledgeable with using English because the parents are exposing those children or those kids with videos or with that vocabulary apps where they could learn how to speak, they could learn words from English. So that's also an advantage. So there are a lot of activities that we could supplement to kids or to people who are having trouble with speaking English. So next one, contextual learning, learn words within their context using such as through conversation, dialogues, or real-life situation. So this aids in understanding their appropriate usage. So contextual learning, actually we experience it in school. But what we are trying to build with those who are having difficulty is the confidence or their knowledge or knowledge development when it comes to vocabularies or English language. Number 2, lack of confidence. So we keep on repeating it. So if you don't have the confidence, you will when you don't have the confidence, you are going to hesitate speaking in English, and that would affect your conversation, or if you're trying to communicate with people from other parts of the world who is proficient in the English language. So some Filipinos may hesitate to speak in English due to fear of making mistakes or being judged, or overcoming these issues involves embracing growth in mindset. So these are the solution. Practice regularly, seek supportive environments. So the disadvantage of having lack of confidence, or what adds up to your lacking of having confidence, is you are afraid to commit mistakes. So that's actually a fault, or a fault of the past curriculums we had, because we are so programmed to not committing mistakes. We always want to seek perfection, but knowing how to handle mistakes properly will allow you to develop better, because we should not be afraid of making a mistake, because it is part of life, it is part of your growth. So but as teacher or as educator, the teachers must address it properly, where students will not be discouraged in learning more, rather be more open to changes. So if you address it properly, if the teacher addresses the mistake properly, then the student will not lose his confidence. Rather, he will try to improve better. He will try to seek solution for him to improve his performance or his language skills. So that's one thing. So there are a lot of factors. That's why here we have the seek supportive environment. So surround yourself with people who encourages you to improve, who encourages you to develop, because with that, you could actually enhance your English proficiency. So limited vocabulary. So since vocabularies are only exposed at school, there are very minimal exposure when it comes to new words or to new vocabularies, basically. So here, the solutions we could provide is read extensively,
use vocabulary building apps, just like earlier. So reading could enhance our vocabulary skills or vocabulary knowledge, since there are a lot of words that could be introduced to us that we are not familiar with. So with the reading, or with watching, or with listening, to people who are speaking English language, or for the first language speakers, we could learn new words, and by that, through time, we are going to notice that we start to use those words that are introduced to us in the conversations. So we became more confident because we are now more knowledgeable than before. And lastly, grammar and sentence structure. So this is taught at school. Filipinos are very much knowledgeable when it comes to grammar structure. The only disadvantage we have is, just like earlier, we are very much afraid of committing mistakes. But writing and speaking are very different things, or two very different things. So in speaking, it requires more confidence, while in grammar and sentence structure, of course, it's a very technical thing. In speaking, as long as you try to have the simple sentences, as long as you convey the message clearly, not necessarily fluently, as long as the point or the message or the idea is there, that is already fine. But with grammar structure, of course, we have to be very technical when it comes to composing or structuring the sentences. So these are the so the solution. Of course, the school provides the materials or the instructional materials for improving grammar and sentence, and actually it is in the curriculum. We just don't have speech learning. So knowing what are the importances and knowing how we could actually solve those difficulties will allow you now to start your personal growth or your personal development in the English proficiency. So if some of you are having difficulty, you could actually check again this details or seminar, and probably you might pick something or learn something from it, and you could actually use and practice it in your daily life. So if anyone has a question in our seminar, kindly address it now. So we are going to answer a few of your questions. So thank you for listening to our seminar.